That's what I do best, build communities.
That is great because living in isolation is not fun.
Why are you, before we get started, why are you living in isolation?
So I only got diagnosed like 2 years ago. So to say I'm finding my feet is an understatement. It might seem like I know what I'm doing or I know what I'm going through, but I'm still figuring it out, still learning as time goes. Because come to realize, you never know everything when it comes to diabetes.
Right.
So it's
You're,
always
you're,
like a little surprise.
yeah, you're in your toddler stages.
Yeah,
Your terrible twos.
I am.
And how do I pronounce your name?
Oh, so it's Thando Ngubeni. So Ngubeni is my
Thando.
surname.
Okay, so
Ngubeni.
so what do you want me to call you? Thando?
Thando is fine. Yeah.
Thando. Is that what your family calls you?
Yes, that's what my family calls me.
Okay, I just want to make sure because we're family.
Oh, thank you.
If you didn't know. Welcome to the Chronically Woke podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On today's episode, we're taking a trip halfway around the world to South Africa, Johannesburg specifically, where we get to sit down and have a conversation with Thando. Thando is my sister that I've never formally met, but you know the space that we have for people of color living with chronic health conditions, specifically diabetes, we all come together and form this brotherly, sisterly love and community that we all earn for. So, Thando, thank you for joining our community. And could you
Yeah.
please give everyone a brief summary of who you are?
So my name is Thando Ngubeni. I am from South Africa, Johannesburg specifically. I'm a 27-year-old who was diagnosed with diabetes type 1 2 years ago. I celebrated my anniversary, I think, in the 11th of November. I'm in the financial services industry, so an industry I've known. I studied finance and just finished my graduate diploma in financial planning. So that is the route I'm currently on, but also just trying to build a community of diabetics and people want to learn more about diabetes in my little corner of the world because, I'm a little isolated. Well, not isolated, but I'm a homebody. I don't go out very often. I like to keep my circle small, but becoming a diabetic has forced me just to expand myself and expand my wings, just to meet a few more people who are like me, who understand what I'm going through, and who live the diabetic life day to day.
You're looking to expand your wings. I'm up here coming up with show titles already. The Wind Beneath Her Wings. So you, first off, you're from South Africa. You did mention that previously. I often ask anyone from another country how the care is for them. But considering you said you were just diagnosed 2 years ago, you don't have much to compare that to other than.
Because I've been privileged enough where I've always had private health facilities that I interact with. So I went to a private hospital. I didn't go to a government institution. So my care was, I would say, is a lot better from what I've heard compared to what I've heard from other people. I haven't had as many complaints on my side with my healthcare provider and my doctors. I'm pretty happy, I'm able to get my medication on time. I'm able to afford my sensors because I'm on medical aid, which in South Africa is a privilege because it is quite pricey. So I can't really complain with my healthcare, but comparing it to people that I've spoken to, I am pretty privileged. I'm at a good point, good advantage.
Is that privilege based on just your work or your employment?
Yes, because if I wasn't employed, I wouldn't be able to afford medical aid.
Okay.
or be able to afford my physicians that I see.
And does that vary by like the different provinces, like the
I can't really
location?
compare province wise, because our medical aid is anybody can get it. It has tiers to it. So I'm not on the top end, but I'm smack bang in the middle, where I do have a few payments that I have to make, but it's not as much as a person who isn't on medical aid. So yeah.
Could you, I don't know if you can, but as much as you can you please give me just a breakdown of like what is medical aid? Is that because here in the
It's
States we have like,
basically
is it like Medicaid like we have here in the States, like government health
no,
insurance?
so it's not. It's health insurance, but it's not from the government. It's from private institutions.
Okay.
And there's different kinds. I'm on Discovery, the classic saver, and I pay about 4.5 thousand rand a month. I'm privileged enough where I pay half and my employer pays half. And it covers my doctor's visits, my hospital stays. There is a chronic section where it pays for all my medication and my census come from there as well. But it's also broken down to medical savings that I have annually. So from my medical savings, half of my census will come from there because we only get two a month. So the chronic fund will pay for one, and my medical savings will pay for the other until my savings are depleted. And once my savings are depleted, it comes from my personal pockets. But medical aid will still cover the portion that it's supposed to cover. And if I'm in the hospital, it pays for all my doctor's visits. Some of my doctors are cash, so I'll have to pay cash and then I'll claim back for medical aid afterwards, which is also a very quick process because we have an app on our phone and it takes about a week to get the money back in my account. But yeah, it's not with the government, it's all private institutions. So like Discovery, Bonitas, there's ones for bank, people who work at the bank specifically. Um, who else? Oh, and there's Gems. Gems is it's a more government one, but I'm not so sure because I've never used it before. But I've also heard that it's pretty good. But for diabetics, I find that Discovery is more holistic. As much as it's more expensive, it does cover a lot more.
Yeah, I had never heard of any of those things. So when you're explaining it to me, I'm trying to keep as much of it in my head as possible on my brain because
Yeah.
me being here from the US, like what I'm thinking of is just comparing it to US health insurance, and it sounds very similar,
Yeah.
aside from when you mention things such as if you're in a certain career or certain place of employment, like if you work in a bank, you get a certain type, like that's something
Yeah.
that's different. And
Yeah.
when you said it covers the entirety of like your hospital stays,
I would
um,
say 90%. Because when I first got diagnosed with diabetes, I did slip into a diabetic coma. So I was in intensive care unit. And I think from that, my total bill got up to I think 100,000 because I spent a week and a half in ICU, a week and a half in the regular hospital ward. And out of that 100K, I only paid I think 10,000 rand at
was
the
it
end.
worth it?
So if
Like,
I
okay,
I won't lie, when I first got medical aid, I was like, I am paying so much money for
for something
absolutely
you're
no
not
reason.
using.
Because I don't get sick, I don't go to the hospital, I don't see my doctors. But when I needed it the most, that's when it showed up. And so I'm a firm believer in if you can afford it, get it. You don't have to get the top tier. You can even get the hospital plan, which is just for when you're in hospital and your hospital stays. But I don't know where I would be without medical aid. I'll probably be in a heap of debt. So I'm pretty grateful for it.
So are you actually paying more for medical aid now since your diagnosis, or is it the same?
No, I pay a bit more because the plan that I was on had specific hospitals that I could go to. But the plan that I'm on now, I can go to any hospital in any area without having a co-payment. So I can just walk into the emergency room and be, I'm not feeling well, and they'll take me without having to ask a lot of questions or me having to cough up an extra amount of money beforehand.
I'm like, okay, very similar to us. Very similar. Do you
Yeah.
are you okay with, like, do you ever think of, like, just because I have this chronic health condition that I did not bring upon myself, like I shouldn't have to pay towards this? Or do you think, like, some people think that way, and then others think, well, if I didn't pay for this, I'll be paying for something else.
Um, I think because I didn't ask for it, I don't think anybody's ever asked for it, but it's not fair that things become a lot more expensive for us who just got a condition that we don't ask for, you know? It would be nice if medical aids decrease their costs because once you add a chronic condition, there's other costs that people don't see because you don't just see your endocrinologist or your physician. You see a podiatrist, a dietitian, a neurologist. There's so many other doctors that you have to see, which are a lot more expensive than people think. People think like, oh, it's just a consultation of 400 rand. No, I pay 1,500 rand to see my physician. So now imagine how much I pay for my podiatrist and my neurologist and my dietitian. And then I have to add medical aid on top of that. And medical aid won't cover the full amount for the doctors sometimes. So it does become, no, I don't want to say useless, but useless because, like, okay, now I have to pay out of pocket to go see a doctor for a condition that I didn't ask for. I've lived a healthy life for the past 27 years. I've done everything I could to the best of my ability to stay healthy. And then one day my pancreas just decides to be like, deuces, find somebody else to do it.
Right?
So
You're literally
it would
paying
be
for
nice
it.
if things were a little more affordable for us.
It would be, because you're literally paying an expense when you can have a coworker who works
Yeah.
the same identical job, same identical task, time, everything. And then when you hear about, like, okay, they're splurging, they're going on a holiday and different things, buying new cars, and you're like, but we get paid the identical
Months.
amount, but I have to put upwards of 10, 20% of what I'm making to keep
Towards
myself
my health.
alive. Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. It's not fair at all. That
It's
expense.
not. Yeah.
And
And
that's
then you have
something.
people who make like comments, oh, like you shouldn't have eaten so much sugar, or just eat cinnamon and you'll be fine. And it's like, well, I've eaten enough cinnamon to cover the whole of Africa, and I'm still not fine.
Right.
So let's find another solution.
Yeah, that whole cinnamon thing and changing the diet. This is an autoimmune chronic health condition. It's not my fault
Exactly.
that in elementary school we weren't taught about what autoimmune and chronic health or were.
Yeah.
It's not my fault, but that is something that many people need to go back and take a glimpse into.
I think that's what we as diabetics are trying to do so much is to try and educate people. But people are, I don't want to say stuck in their ways, but they're stubborn. Because you could explain until your face is blue that type 1 and type 2 are not the same. Type 1 is autoimmune. And they would still be like, oh no, but you still could have done this, or you should do this, or you shouldn't do that. And it's like, I'm kind of tired of talking, but I still want to continue talking because if I don't talk cool, you know.
No. And I recommend just have like a small business card and just hand it to the person, because once the conversation gets to a certain point, just have on there like 5 bullet points of, it's an autoimmune disease, it's chronic health, there is no cure, I must take insulin to live. Like, Those types of things. Just
Exactly.
have those bullet points on there and just hand it to them and just keep about your
The
life.
cue card.
Yep. Keep about your day. Because I mean, seriously, people do too
Yeah,
much.
they do.
Mhm.
And I think it just adds on to the frustration of living with a chronic condition. It's like I have to take care of myself, but also have to be aware of the things that you guys think and the things that people say. And to a certain point, it gets so annoying. And it's like, I really just want to deal with one problem at a time, but I can't ignore you as well because you're very loud. But
Extremely loud, too loud at times,
exactly,
right?
too
Um,
loud.
you were 27 years young. That's what I say, not old. 27 years young when you were diagnosed.
Or 25.
Or 25. You're 27 now. Sorry, 25. Oh, wow, that's a milestone. Like, had you celebrated?
Close to 30.
Great. When's your birthday?
It's in March on the 14th.
March 14th. So you were able to have that 25th birthday celebration.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was.
okay, because that's a quarter of a century. That's definitely a milestone that we should be celebrating. But
Yeah,
then some 6 months later,
life happened.
your life was almost not happening anymore.
Literally. Yeah.
Right. Did you see any signs?
So, prior to my diagnosis, I had suffered from recurring pancreatitis. So my pancreas would flare up and I'd be down in bed for like a week, not being able to eat or move or anything. And eventually, 2 months before my diagnosis, I was admitted into the ICU. And the doctor was like, hey, you have stones, we'll remove that, or remove your gallbladder. And after that, my pancreatic attacks stopped. But then in November, I remember I was writing my exams for my postgrad and I had lost a lot of weight. But because I was trying to lose weight, I was like, oh, it's finally working. I'm getting snatched. But when I went to work the one day, the lady at work was like, you're yellow. And I was like, how can I be yellow? I'm black. How am I yellow? It's like, no, you don't look well.
Like you were a
And I'm like, I
Simpson?
mean, I don't feel great, but I'll just go to the doctor and I'll see what's going on. And I was very thirsty. I remember I had a 2 liter of sparkling water next to me that I would down so quickly. And then I'd run to the bathroom just as quickly. And the other symptom I had that I didn't realize was a very fruity breath. So my breath was very sweet. And I thought, okay, maybe it's because I'm just eating watermelon because that's the only thing I could stomach. And I was very nauseous and just, I couldn't keep anything down. So I'd eat my watermelon, but it'll quickly come out in the bathroom. So then I was at home and I was sitting with my grandmother and my cousin and in my head, I was like dozing in and out of sleep. But my grandmother and my cousin explained it as my eyes just rolling back every time. And when I went to go see the first doctor that I saw, he was like, oh, it's probably a stomach bug. And he gave me antibiotics and medication, which was kind of dumb because I couldn't keep that down. And 2 days later, my grandmother called my mom to come pick me up. They took me home and they thought that was my pancreas again. So they gave me what they usually give me when my pancreas would flare up, which was jelly and apple juice, just to keep me hydrated.
And that made it
Little did they
worse.
know they were making me a lot worse. And the day after that, my mom rushed me to the hospital and I slipped into a coma. And luckily enough, the nurses knew what to look for, especially after my mom had explained what I was feeling. Which was kind of crazy because I thought the doctor would have known, the initial doctor that I went to, but he didn't. But the nurses caught it, and I think I was in a coma for about 2 or 3 days. And eventually I got out of it. But it was a rough time. I mean, I was delirious for most of it. The only thing I do remember saying was they were like, we have to give you a central line for your medication. And I was like, please don't put it on my neck. because the previous hospital stay, I had it in my neck. It was excruciating. I didn't want to go through that again. And yeah, that's how I was diagnosed. And life's gone on ever since then.
It was a truly a traumatic experience.
It was it
But
was a sequence of events where I didn't know what was going on, you know,
did
but
you fear the
eventually figured it out.
did you fear the worst at any times? Like, because many people think of things like, is it cancer?
I think because I was losing weight and I was nauseous, I thought it was stress with a stomach bug because I was writing exams. So I didn't think too much of it. It's only when, not even, because I think because I had gotten, my sugar was so high that I didn't realize what was going on. So I was delirious most of the time. So I didn't think there was anything wrong, or my brain was functioning too slowly for me to put one and one together. Because even when my grandmother was like, "Should I call your mom?" I was like, "No, let me just sleep. I'll be fine." I'm glad she didn't listen to me.
Others
I
noticed
probably
it
wouldn't
before
be
you.
awake.
Yeah, others noticed it before you
They did.
yourself.
They didn't know what it was, but they knew that it was serious.
Right. They said this girl's turning into Bart Simpson. They said you were turning yellow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That would have scared me. And just because of
Yes.
you being in your natural state, we don't slowly see like when changes are occurring to us. We're used to like if
Yeah.
it happens suddenly, like fast, like we're like okay. But if it happens slowly, we're like I'm the
Slowly.
same. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. But your grandma
But
knew. She's like, this ain't my baby. Somebody took over my baby.
she said, not my grandchild.
Right. Then thank you, Grandma, for noticing that and everyone else who did. And even though you kept getting pricked and poked and all of those things, in the end, they got you a formal diagnosis because there are so many
Yeah.
people, too many people that go without that diagnosis, especially when you think of people of color. Um, Many
Yes.
times we're looked at as not only not being able to catch certain viruses, but because of the strength that we've built as a people, they're like, oh, you have a sickness, you can fight it.
Yes.
Like many people look at us like that. Like instead of looking at us as human beings as others are. And
Definitely.
even when we tap into things such as being vulnerable, like admitting to things like I'm not well. People look at us like
They're
you look
not
what
used to it.
right. You look
You
well to
look
me.
fine.
Yep, exactly. Like today, living with diabetes. I'm sure many people are like, I guess she had diabetes because she looks good today.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're diabetic? You don't look diabetic. And I'm just like, what does a diabetic look like?
Start letting them know, like start pointing at people, be like, that looks like a diabetic. That looks like
Yeah.
everyone looks like a not that I don't look like a diabetic. Everyone looks like a
Mhm.
diabetic.
Everyone looks like a diabetic
Right. And
because this is why we call it an invincible condition.
yeah, yeah. How long did you spend in that hospital?
Close to 3 weeks. Pardon?
Do you use an insulin pump?
No, it's very expensive to get this side.
I was
So
thinking
I
that.
use the insulin pens.
Okay. What insulin?
Yeah, it's about, I think, 45,000 to get the initial set.
Mhm.
Pardon?
I said, what insulins do you use?
Uh, I I use for long acting. I use Opticillin,
Okay, I think that's similar to like a
which is a generic of
Basilvar,
Lantus,
Lantus. Yep.
and yeah, yeah. And then for my day to day, I use the
Okay. I think that's
Nova
similar.
Rapid.
Yeah, that's similar to no what is it? Novolin or It's not as
Yeah.
fast acting as Fias, but it's like a Novolin insulin
Oh,
aspart type.
because I have to take it 15 minutes before my meals.
Right.
So it's not as quick.
Right. Yeah. Do you ever look at like via social media, like different insulins people use and be like, I wish I had that.
I do. Because there's one guy that I recently started talking to, and he's like, he only injects twice a day because his is the combination of long lasting and the fast acting. And I'm like, that would
Hold
be
on.
great.
But that means he's using a NPH and regular. He's using like a 70-30 mix.
Yes. Because he said he's
That
like on 52 and something.
just lets you know that's not a modern insulin.
Oh,
That's
is it an old one?
yes. Yes. So
Okay.
it's called NPH and regular. I used it when I was first diagnosed over 20 years ago. So
Okay.
I would take I think it was 30 units in the morning before breakfast and then 15
Hmm.
units before dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, it's not better
Okay.
at all.
Oh, damn. I mean, if I could, I would get the insulin pump because it just seems like it's more convenient than constantly stabbing myself every time I have to eat a meal. Um, so once it becomes affordable in South Africa, I'll definitely have a look at that.
Right. I do
Yeah,
know
because medical
some
aid doesn't cover that.
right. I do know some people who actually outsource it from other places. Like they'll get
Oh,
someone
okay.
from the US or any other state or country that has it readily available and they'll pay for it. But you gotta you gotta have big money to do
I'll look
those
at that.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple moms who actually do that for like their Dexcom sensors because in certain
Mm,
places like they only have like Freestyle Libre available. Is
yeah.
that what you use?
Yes, I use a Freestyle Libre,
Yeah. And
but we
some
do have the
parents
Dexcom available.
okay. Yeah, some parents are
Yeah.
like, I want the Dexcom because that's what I see all over social media. So they'll actually pay out of pocket for it. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you have
Yeah.
a lot of money.
You do, because the Freestyle Libre does the same job. There's a new one now called, I think it's 8X. I'm not sure. That one is also, it's cheaper than the Freestyle Libre. They haven't done enough testing on it, but it seems like it's getting people the correct results that they need.
Um, do you live alone?
Yes, I do.
Now, that's a whole nother fear of being a type 1 diabetic, being alone. Even though you talked about being in isolation, but being alone, especially like during the night, do you get good sleep at
Yes.
night?
Most nights I do.
Okay.
Some nights not so much. Because I mean, we crash. I mean, my sugar decides to crash in the middle of the night.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, you could have crashed while I was awake, but sure, I'll deal with you now. But it'll crash, and then luckily I have a stash next to my bed. So I'll quickly check my sugar and I'll just eat whatever I need to eat and then just roll back to sleep.
Right.
Sometimes I'll wait for it to come up, but if I'm really tired, I'll just pray and hope for the best,
Look,
which usually works.
sometimes that's what we have to do.
Yes.
Seriously, I was just speaking to someone yesterday online, and they were talking about like they're at home by themselves and whatever. Like, and I'm like, I was trying to think. I was like, I can't even remember the last time I've been alone. Like,
Yeah.
literally, um, I truly can't think of the last time I've actually been anywhere alone. Like
Oh, wow.
whether it's sleeping alone, being in the house alone, being at work, like anything, like I can't even, it's been,
It's
if
been
you
a
ask me, I
while.
would, if no, if you ask me, I would say never.
Oh.
Like I don't think I've ever been alone.
Hmm.
And that's even before diabetes.
Yeah.
Like someone
So I
was,
wasn't alone. before diabetes.
Okay.
I used to live with my parents, and I mean, I grew up, I decided I wanted my own space.
You grew
And I
up.
think after the diagnosis, they wanted me to move back home, but I think because we had a difference of opinions with diabetes and how to treat it and how to handle it, I was like, it's only going to add onto my stress of dealing with the condition, accepting that I have the condition. And I didn't want to rely on people because, I mean, there will come a time where people will disappoint you. So I wanted to learn to deal with it by myself before I let other people deal with it. And so staying by myself did help. Hence why if my sugar does crash, I'm able to deal with it by myself. They won't even realize that my sugar crashed, because I'll wake up, do what I need to do, and go back to sleep. Even if it crashes during the day while I'm sitting with them, I will slowly slip away, go sort myself out, and come back. Do they notice sometimes when my sugar's crashing? Yes. Um, but my mom is still under the impression that, oh no, you'll be fine. She still doesn't understand it. I've tried to explain countless of times. I've tried to break it down for her, but it's always ended up in an argument of her saying, no, you can't be diabetic. I didn't give birth to a diabetic child. So it did cause a bit of a strain. But once I moved out, it was a lot easier for us to have a relationship because I drew the boundary of we don't have to talk about the condition. No, you don't have to ask questions. I will inject in front of you because your pancreas works in front of me. I need to work on myself as well in front of you. If you do have a problem, you can close your eyes, but I'm not going to change things just to accommodate how you feel, because it could
Truly
put my life at
understand.
risk because I have to wait to inject because somebody feels uncomfortable, and that's not fair. So,
I truly understand that. So on this podcast, it is so that we can be unapologetically ourselves. And it also
yeah,
gives the opportunity for us to share with those we love most our truths of living with type 1 diabetes. So,
yeah,
mom, you're out there. If you ever get a chance to listen to this, to watch this, just know your baby girl is doing everything she can to be at her best. We, meaning me and her and the community of millions worldwide, we do live with type 1 diabetes. It is not
yeah,
any other diabetes, which all are equally chronic health conditions that I would not wish upon anyone else. But type 1 diabetes is the one you will never see, truly. It is the one that is invisible to many because we live with this condition 24/7, meaning there's no
yeah.
breaks in between. So we must throw on our big boy and big girl shoes and pants and continue to go about our lives without forecasting or showing the obstacles that we run through daily. But daily there's an obstacle we're running through. We're beating the odds because literally, mom, we are the only ones that are keeping ourselves alive. Literally,
That's so
without
true.
without the insulin that we manually inject, we would not be able to live. Not one day, not 2 days, no days. Like we're gone. And because of the advent of this insulin, we are able to proceed with life. But every step we take, every obstacle is with caution.
It
So I
is.
just want everyone out there to know that there is no cure. There truly is no beating the odds when it comes to type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
Even without food, we still have other things that affect our blood sugar, our blood glucose levels. Things such as stress,
Hmm.
adrenaline, weather,
Lack
temperature,
of
heat,
sleep.
lack of sleep.
Yes.
There's so many
Hormones.
hormones. the variables that exist, we cannot we cannot deter from. Like like they pop up whenever they want to. It's like a joke, seriously, and it's not a funny one.
Yeah.
It may be a joke to others, but it's not funny to us when it just pops up and like, surprise, I'm here.
Yeah.
For many of us, it takes years, myself even, decades to truly come to
Yeah.
grips with it. Because we are, I mean, you were diagnosed at 25. I was diagnosed
Yeah.
at 20. We truly did go through a mourning process, and still, even 20 years later, I'm still going through mourning processes at time. Like,
Yeah. We're
I
still trying to
remember.
figure it out.
Yeah. We remember.
We do.
Um,
Because I
Thando,
remember the first time it hit me and I just broke down.
yeah, there are so many misconceptions of people living with diabetes, specifically here, type 1 diabetes, because I mean, greatly worldwide, when you hear the term diabetes, typically you only think of like type 2, even
Yes.
though even though in the media, not until recent years did they say type 2 diabetes. When they would speak of it, they would just say things like diabetes.
Diabetes.
He has diabetes and he can't eat sugar. Got to watch out for his eyes and his limbs, and he's overweight. This can help with his diabetes. Like, that's
Mhm.
all you heard, but it was specifically for type 2 diabetes. And
Yeah.
that's why I truly like I build spaces for type 1 communities, because when you think of other health conditions like cancer, you don't group everyone together. You don't be like, oh, he
No.
has skin cancer, but I'm going to put him with someone with colorectal or colon cancer or brain cancer or lymphoma, like different types of lymphomas. Like, you don't group people like that. That's a like
Everybody has their own category.
yes, yes, yes. And we have our own category. This belongs to us,
Yes.
even though we don't want it.
Our moment to shine.
Right, right. Even though if I could, I would give it away.
I would. I really would. I miss eating without having to think about the consequences.
And that's harsh that you have to say the word consequences when it comes to like just thinking about eating. That's not even just eating, that's just thinking about eating. You're thinking of the
Yeah.
consequences. Like, and someone actually brought this to my attention fairly um fairly recently. They were like, everyone living with type 1 diabetes has a form of an eating disorder.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I was like, no, I don't. But then I thought about it. And then I'm like, when I'm counting carbs or thinking about how much insulin I have to use, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to eat that right now because,
It's
yeah, that's a form of an eating disorder. Like, seriously,
just another problem added onto our plate.
literally our plate. Yeah. And since you're fairly new into this world of being a diabetic, um, how much has it altered or changed the person who you previously were?
Um, Quite a bit. I used to be an emotional eater. So if I'm stressed, I want to snack on something. If watching a movie, I want to stress, eat a snack on something. If I'm sad, if I'm angry, I used to turn to food. But now I can't do that. So do I get sad for a little longer? Sure. Because I can't be like, oh, I'm just going to go grab a donut and I'll feel a little better. Because if my sugar's at a 9 or a 10, so I don't want to take it any higher. So I'll just swallow my sadness, which makes the sadness even greater. Because like now I'm sad about not being able to eat my donut, and I'm sad about whatever was making me upset. So it has altered me a bit, especially my mental states. Um, I'll cry randomly, and that's mainly because I'm just frustrated with being a diabetic. And then you'll add life stresses onto it. So life doesn't stress me as much as diabetes does. So I don't want to say I'm a sadder person than the person I used to be, but I do embrace my negative feelings a lot more because I do feel them a lot more. So yeah,
Just know, crying randomly, when you are doing that, there are, excuse me, there are millions of people around the world that are crying those same tears.
yeah,
Like, seriously, the emotions of living with type 1 diabetes are real.
yeah,
And I mean, I wouldn't consider us like extra or more emotional. It's just there are certain aspects to living with this condition where if you're not tapping into your inner emotions, then you can't truly deal with it.
you
Like
can't.
the stigmas, the family and loved ones telling you things that you truly
Mhm.
don't want to hear, that annoy you. And you have to sometimes suck it up. And sometimes you got to be like, you got to outwardly provoke, like, no, just stop it,
Yeah,
leave it alone. Like,
yeah. Just draw the line.
yeah, and that's all related to diabetes, the different emotions of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, when you're crying, just believe. Sometimes I cry.
yeah.
Uh,
It's nice to know that I'm not crying by myself.
yeah, not at all. Not at all. Just look up into the sky
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, Will's probably crying right now too. Boo hoo. It's like, big old babies like that. But
Yeah.
we all are babies, so whatever.
Yeah.
We
Because I used
cried.
to feel guilty.
Don't.
I used to feel guilty for crying because it's like someone probably has it worse than I do, and I always think about the kids because at least I got to live my childhood. I got to eat all the candy in the world and all the junk. Someone who was born with type 1 diabetes couldn't do that. And I used to feel bad, but now it's like, you know what? I'm also sad and I'm allowed to be upset. Because as much as I got to live my childhood, my 20s are now affected. My 30s are also affected. I can't have a dirty 30 like a regular 30-year-old can. Will I have one? I probably will, but in moderation.
Yeah. You mentioned about the kids. Yeah. I had a woman I recorded with, yeah, last March, April, somewhere around there. And she had an emotional outburst in a training session for her sensor. She was getting, and a little girl, I think she said she was like 4 years old, was getting a Dexcom put on. And she said this grown woman who's in her 40s, she said she just started bursting out crying. Like, I can't believe you have to do that. Why are y'all got to do that to that baby? And the mom had to let her know this, like, I understand, like, you're going through this emotional, eh, um, and you're being very distraught right now because you're seeing this happen to my child. But just know this is the only thing my child knows.
Yes.
Meaning like those kids who didn't get a chance to do all the running around, eating all the candy and all those things,
Mm.
they really don't know about
They
this.
don't know much. Yeah.
Right. Their norm and their regular was their norm and their regular. As we would
Yeah.
say to you growing up in South Africa and me growing up here in the US. My norm, like you probably see things on the television or social media that's going on over here in the US, and you're like, oh my, I can't believe it. And
Yeah.
I see the same. And I'm like, wow, like I can't believe it. And most of those things
Yes.
stem from like politics on both sides. But yeah,
Hmm.
some things are out of our direct control. And
Yeah, true.
we just learn to navigate with them. Yeah. So
Yeah, they become a part of our life anyway.
it is. Even though, again, yours is fairly new, like two
Yes, I'm a
years.
baby.
Oh my gosh. 2 years young.
Mm,
Mm-mm-mm. Like at 25, you had just finished most of your education, was into your big girl job.
yes.
Uh, you've already probably been in relationships,
Hmm.
had many different friendships, built communities. You've probably
Yeah.
been out partying and clubbing, socializing,
Yes.
all of those things. But then, bam, the brick comes through your window with a note on it
Yep.
that says, I'm taking it all away. Like literally, I'm taking it all away, and you're going to have to relearn how to do everything you previously did.
Yes.
And that truly, being 25 years young, that's to me is like, I mean, you're not still dependent on your parents. You're literally 100% solely dependent on yourself.
Literally, yeah.
And everyone sees you growing into this mature young person, young adult, and
Mhm.
you're doing everything you can to become that. But when you were given this diagnosis, not only for yourself, but for everyone else, in that, so we call this the fishbowl approach. You were the
Mhm.
person inside that fishbowl,
Yeah.
and everyone else was on the outside watching you, and they're looking like, but before she was able to do this and do that,
Rush comes.
there's no way it can just automatically be like taken away from her. Many people come with that approach, like, we got to figure out how to get her back to what she was.
Yeah. And there's no getting back, really.
Right? It's only
Yeah.
growth from there.
Yeah.
Like how you would with any other um obstacle, heartache, growth. You would just move forward.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that's what you,
drastic, but it's like losing a limb and having to learn how to walk again. It's not as drastic as learning how to walk again, but learning new mannerisms and a new way of thinking and a new way of carrying myself. Can't be reckless because I have a sense on mom, so I have to be careful that I don't rip that out. I can't party and drink as much as I used to because my body needs to rest. So that my insulin intake can improve and my body can actually absorb the insulin. It's it's a lot of learning. You thought you'd learn a lot at school, but you learn a lot more with diabetes because it's something new every day. You know, I learned the hard way that my hormones affect my sugar. I was like, oh damn, that's not fun. But there's nothing I can do about that. So it's a lot of learning for myself, but a lot of teaching for the people around me.
that's a um that's a plus, I would say, that younger people will have on us that were diagnosed fairly later um in life as adults, is that they had someone there when they were diagnosed that could
Yes,
not only help them but could back them up. Like when someone says, "Oh, you can't eat that because you're diabetic." They had a parent who could say, "My child can
actually, they
do
can.
this." Yeah, and gave them the reasoning and all that. Like we didn't have that because we were adults. All of the adults were
Yeah.
looking at us like, "No, you can't have that." Why? Like, and we didn't have anyone next to us to back us up.
Yeah.
And like communities that we build today, we know that we have each other to back each other up.
Yeah,
And that's a need. It's almost like we've gone through a grieving process. And with grief,
definitely.
there does come isolation, solitude, but the way that we come up out of that is not only do we learn about it, but we have support systems that are able to, whenever we call on them, who are able to come forward and be like, okay, I
Hmm.
got you. Just lean back, baby. I got you. But as adults, when we grieve, it's for the most part, it is in isolation.
It is. Because I think for the most part, we feel like nobody understands what we're going through. And even if we try to explain it, they'll never get close enough to understand what I'm really going through. Um, so when I do have my little down moments, I do shut down because also I've never been 100% expressive. Not having to be like, oh no, I'm sad because I don't want to inject today or for another couple of days. I just need a break. Some people are like, what do you mean? You know, they don't understand why you just don't want to inject and you just want to stuff your face with all the junk in the world and not think about what's going to happen, you know, or just merely just wanting to exist without having to think of every other thing. And like, it's like having 100 tabs open actually in your head. Because like, I was thinking about food, the weather's hot, how's that going to affect me today? Remembering if you took enough insulin, remembering if you took your long lasting insulin. It's that's why sometimes I just keep quiet and I just sit in my room and I just isolate. So I can pull myself towards myself.
I'm sorry that you have to do that, that you have to go through that, because no one should.
Yeah.
Seriously, we should all be there to support each other no matter what. As long as, I
Yeah.
mean, you're showing positive growth. And when it comes to our health, physical and mental, those are our biggest growths and challenges in life.
Yeah.
But I mean, I see it within you because you're able to eliminate the chatter.
Mm.
You're able to eliminate that and tell yourself, I myself am going to continue to live my life. Nothing's going
Yeah.
to stop me from doing that. Yeah, and you've repeated it many times in here. Like
Yeah.
I know that there are issues and concerns like with family. We all have them. And we just
Mm.
wish that they could get it. We truly
Yeah.
do. Um that just reminds me, I'm going to share with you, I have to share it with you. I'm going to send it to you maybe through email or direct
Yeah.
message. There's a podcast episode of the Juicebox podcast called Explaining Type 1 Diabetes. And I give this to everyone whose family just truly don't get it. And
Yeah.
it breaks down everything like you would tell a caregiver, a family member, a coach, a teacher, anyone that's around someone living with type 1 diabetes. It breaks down what it is, how they should support them, all of those things, because we need that.
We do.
Yeah.
We really do.
Uh, question. So today you've been living with type 1 diabetes for 2 years. Um, I wanted to ask you about things such as relationships. Does diabetes in itself affect you as in relationships? I know you mentioned your family, but like in other relationships, friendships, partnerships.
No, I have a really supportive partner. You know, we started dating before I was diagnosed. He stuck around through my diagnosis and he's still around today. And I think I was lucky with that one, you know, because some people hear diabetes and they run, you know, because they don't know how to handle it or, you know, where to start. but he asks questions. If I need help, he's there. My friends as well, sometimes they do make the mistake of, oh, if we low, do we give you insulin? And it's like, no, give me sugar, you know? And they have said that I must make like a little cheat sheet for them that I keep on my desk that says, if I'm low, do this. If I'm high, do this, which I will do eventually. I think I've just been procrastinating because I'm so used to doing it myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never really asked for help. But I feel like there will come a time where it's very drastic and they do need the help. So I'll make a little cheat sheet for them. But yeah, they've been very supportive. Like for instance, when it's World Diabetes Month and it's wear blue, they've worn blue. And even when I don't remind them, they'll do it. And it might be like in subtle things like, oh, I'll see that your socks are blue or your bow tie is blue, but they're really supportive. I got lucky with that bunch.
They got lucky with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You keep saying everyone else got lucky. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's good that you have those people, and it shows that they're open to learning.
Yeah.
That's good because we do need people in our corner. Like you may be the toughest fighter ever, which I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Look, you said yeah before I even finished. Like yeah, like in school they knew when it came to
Yeah.
debates. I'm the first round pick. Um, but I have you ever imagined your life without diabetes? Like, because it's been 2 years.
I have, but I can't see life without diabetes anymore. I think because I've accepted that it's part of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's there, So I've tried to imagine life without diabetes, but I can't see anything drastically different. I think I'd
Right.
still be doing everything I'm doing now, minus the insulin.
And it's probably still too early on in your diagnosis to think about it because I'm thinking
Yeah.
about myself in those early years. Like, I wouldn't even have had this conversation.
Yeah.
It would have been impossible for me to have this conversation. That shows your strength.
Yeah.
Plus, social media wasn't big like this when I was diagnosed.
Yes. I think that's what helped as well, like seeing that there are other people and seeing people speak about living with the condition and just being open and having those conversations made it a lot easier to accept and to deal with, because like you said, back then there wasn't much social media. All people knew was type 2. And I think this is where also the stigma comes in. And seeing that, okay, there are other people with type 1 diabetes and not just a unicorn really helped. Yeah.
What's some good advice that you've received or that you would like to share or give to someone else? Not only with someone that's living with type 1 diabetes, plus even someone who cares for someone that lives with type 1 diabetes. Because we've spoken a lot through this conversation about family and loved ones. So, like, what's some good advice you would like to just share with someone about living with type 1 diabetes?
Firstly, it's not the end of the world. Life doesn't stop when you get diagnosed or when a loved one gets diagnosed. If anything, it becomes more interesting. I don't want to say you put color into the world, but it does, because you bring more conversations that you can have to teach people and to learn and to develop the relationships that you have. It does get better with time. Might not look like it in the beginning, but it does. And it's okay to cry. And if your loved one is feeling miserable on a random Wednesday morning, don't ask them what's wrong or don't ask them how you can help. Just sit there and be with them in the moment, because that's literally all we want. We don't want to be treated differently just because we have a chronic condition. We are still who we were before we got diagnosed. We just now have an added thing to who we are. And let's not comment on people's bodies. Let's keep those comments to ourselves because you don't know how much damage you're doing or how much damage you're adding to an already damaged person. And I don't like to think of people as broken. So let's not treat each other like we're broken. We are still human. We have feelings. It's just gotten to a point where we have to feel them a lot more than the regular individual because we have 1,000 decisions that we have to make in one day. So be a little easy on us as well. Ciao.
Thank you for that. I feel like I should. For real, you just gifted the community of people living with caretakers, loved ones, message for hope.
Yeah.
And I hope that in a few years from now, when we wrap around and I conversate with you again, that you'll still have that same optimism, vision for hope. Because we know, like we spoke about, there are times where we're going to be down, where we're mourning our previous selves, and we got everyone coming from each way saying different things. But as you said, and you did gift me the title to this episode, it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be the title.
Glad I could help.
Thank you for that. Before we close up, is there anything out there that any questions, anything you wanted to relay that you haven't been able to? I don't know if you have any notes or anything.
No, I think we covered everything. But firstly, thank you, actually. I think you're one of the few people that I found on Instagram that was diabetic and that was loud and proud. Mm-hmm. And, you kind of helped. I do listen to some of your podcasts, like some of your episodes. So, yeah, thank you for what you're doing. I think it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's nice to have someone who's walked the path to talk to as well, to give us little nuggets of wisdom when we need them. So we appreciate them.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You said I walked the path. I thought you were going to say I walked the plank.
No, you walked the path.
I was like, oh yeah, it was kind of tough for a while. I fell in a couple deep oceans and got myself out, but yeah, thank you for that. Truly appreciate it. I did ask you, have you ever imagined life without diabetes? But I want to leave on this note, and I leave on this note with everyone. On the day you're 2 years in, you're not going to have to be 20 years in, I don't believe. Mm-hmm. Because I follow science, I follow research, and I've seen people having functional cures due to things such as pancreatic islet cell transplants. Like, they're becoming big here. There's many clinical trials going on here in North America. On the day you are cured, Thando, on the day you are cured, what do you do?
Firstly, thank Jesus, because without him, I wouldn't be here. Secondly, I'm stuffing my face with cake. Oh, yes. Oh, cake. Yes. Caramel and vanilla. And then I'm going to have a slab of chocolate with caramel inside. And I might just have a whole bag of popcorn to myself. Yeah.
You're gonna have your own little party.
I'm gonna have my own, I'm gonna have a one-man party and then I'll invite everybody else afterwards.
Mm.
Oh, and pizza. Definitely. Yeah, because the math behind bolus into pizza is still complicated. But the day I am cured, I won't have to think about the math. So I'm gonna have a box of pizza.
A whole box, right?
A box.
And you deserve that.
Yes.
Yes. So my friend Thando, who let me travel all the way through halfway across the world to Johannesburg, South Africa to meet. I truly appreciate you for joining me on this journey that is the Chronically Will podcast, where we have
Thank
real
you.
conversations with community that need to be heard. And my sister, you are truly someone that needs to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.